let me explain how Sytemap works. So this is how the estate is represented on the map. So you can see the entire project, and of course the individual units of the project. So you see on the legend, it tells us what is available and what is not available. So these are different status. So pending payment, sold, reserve, on release, and so on and so forth. So here would mean pending payment according to the legend, and here would mean sold according to the legend. And of course the other ones, the ones that is here is reserve according to the legend as well. So if you go to the ones that are available, they're all green. Besides that, it's also easy to look at the individual unit on the sidebar. So you can see all of the units here is all the available units here is also represented on the sidebar. And of course the individual prices for those properties, the unit number, and of course the size of the unit. Now the next step would be to demonstrate how a buyer can reserve property that is interested in. But before I do that, another interesting thing we want to look at is that with this you are able to see the environment that the property is. You see the environment that the property is. For example, on the map, I can see the activities around here, the yellow trumpet residence, all of those things. So it helps the buyers to determine if this is the right investment. Right? And now, if I now want to buy, I can come to the map directly and click the one I want. Or better still, I can go to the sidebar and select any of the units. It's the same thing. So whichever the user is comfortable with. So let me use the map itself. So I click, it gives me information about this unit. So the next thing I need to do, if I want to pay through a payment plan, I can look at the payment plans that are available for the project and the durations, number of installments, all of that is displayed there. So if there are several ones, maybe like 6 schedules, they will be displayed. So I can choose one and then I go ahead and reserve. Now the next thing for me to do is to look at the information that is available. If somebody had referred this to me, I can put a discount code and I can get a discount. Of course, I need to choose if I'm paying in installments or I'm paying outright. So the only installment option available is the 4 months, and I can proceed. So this helps provide summary of how my payment will go. Right, same thing as you would try to get a mortgage from the bank. They give you a breakdown, maybe for the next 24 months or whatever that is. So you get to know. So if I follow the routine that the schedule here, it means that I'm going to be done with my payment on 27. However, the system allows me to finish early or slightly late. Right? And of course, we encourage the customer to do that early. So I can proceed. The next thing will be for me to choose my name. But something interesting, if you are a returning customer, you don't need to type all of this again. You already have your data. So what you need to do is to go to yes, I'm an existing customer. And the only thing we need is your email. So I go ahead and type my email. Yeah, you can resume. Okay. Okay, so after inputting the email, the next thing is to proceed. Now, for consent reason, you need to provide the OTP to be able to proceed. So that's exactly what I'm going to do now. It has been sent to my email, so I'm getting the OTP from my email. So I type that here. So that means that the customer is protected. The random person who is exposed to the customer email cannot just go and copy the person's email and then just proceed. No. So you need to get the consent. Then I proceed. So it's going to pull my data that's already existing on the system. However, if I've logged in, I don't need to do all of this. But now because I'm not logged in, I can just buy it. It's an easy process to go on. But something interesting here, preferred name on the certificate. Imagine I'm buying for myself and my wife. So both of us can appear here because that would make it a legal document. However, if I'm buying for myself, this is the preferred name. My name is the preferred name. But if if I'm buying for 2 other persons or somebody else entirely, if I'm trying to buy for my child, I can put her name here or his name here, and that is all. So I proceed. I don't want to do that. And the same allowed me to generate contract. Contract offer letter. Yeah, that's the right name. So the offer letter, so I can view it, so that I have an idea of what I'm getting into. So those contract informations are displayed on a typical PDF document like this one that I can view, and also includes my payment details, so what I'm going to pay, and the breakdown of what my payment looks like. Right. So I took 3 months at this cost. And of course, my down payment for today will be just 1,000, and then I can pay the other one subsequently. Of course, it will not always be 1,000. It can be 1 million. It can be 100,000. It can be 200,000, as the case may be, depending on what has been predefined. And of course, my payment details are also displayed here. So once I copy this, my account number, I can just make the payment. Now, once I make the payment, so let me go back to the map. So you see, my details are here. I can also execute this contract here. So I can sign it here. And once I sign, so I add it. So once I add it, display as a signed contract. Going forward, I can now download it. I can download the contract and save it on my, as part of my document, on my file, so I can easily reference it. However, the document can always be available on the system for reference. So of course, once you sign, or once you make your first deposit, it authenticates the contract. This is also an executable document that you can use to show that you have a commitment, or you have a contract with not just the Sytemap, but with the developer we are partnering with. So now, if I go back to the map, you realize that the status for this property has changed. Remember, the plot is F1. The plot is F1. The plot is F1. So by the time I go back, you see that F1 together, which is 2. Okay, so now that I've reserved this unit, so you can see that the unit is reserved. Of course, so the buyer now have 48 hours to review the contract. Is now on pending payment. However, the developer, who is the owner of the property, can also see that I have reserved the property. If he comes to call it, you can see me right there, right? And I've reserved.
I think you should be perspective.
So the plot, the unit F12, the amount that I'm required to pay today, which is the down payment. Of course, it varies depending on the unit. So you can see this one is for 5 million. And also view the developer can also view the same contract that I have signed. So which is interesting. You can see the same contract that have been sent to me and was generated. So that's basically how Sytemap works. It's very easy to interact. The most important thing is to provide clarity for the buyer so that you can see what you are buying. Now, there are other features that are added to allow you to see documents that are available for the property. Because it's not uploaded for this particular demo, that's why it was on the next update. We show that you can see and verify the documents that this particular project has. And that helps you to learn and avoid fraud. Thank you.